Hello and welcome to another edition of Indiepocalypse Radio. We are here with another collection of guests from the wide world around, Indiepocalypse and the assorted Indiepocalypse ephemera. And, people basically, a lot of people whom I have emails for and are ready to go. We are here with, I'm Andrew, of course, the host of the show, the organizer, etc. of Indiepocalypse, the monthly anthology of alternative video games and tabletop games, using loose definitions of game for both of them. We are here with a trio of guests. Our first guest wrote, is a writer, is someone within the tabletop space, wrote about Spindle Wheel for Indiepocalypse Radio, but it does other things on top of that. It's Mila Grish. Mila, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing all right. The weather is a bit rainy, so it's all cloudy, but I'm in the south,
Yes.
American South, so here it's warm and rainy and humid, so walking outside is quite unpleasant, so I'm just enjoying the clouds through the window.
Now, see, I was going to say the opposite. I love it when it's warm and rainy.
Except when the humidity is 98% and it's above 80
right.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, I guess humidity is a killer.
It's not great.
I have also been deep into, hey, this thing is out now. What's going on here? Yes, but we are here talking, chatting. If people are, complicated, people unfamiliar with your work. Hey, what's up? Who are you? How you doing? How would you? I'm trying to find the phrasing for this, because I'm used to say, hey, tell me about your game.
I
I'm
got you asking me.
Yeah, I'm like, tell me about your work more broadly. If people are unfamiliar with your broad body of work, as the question, the complicated process of asking a freelance writer, hey, what's up? What's your deal?
Gotcha. Actually, I'm a little bit all over the place,
Yes.
but for the most part, I write informative content for tabletop and for video games. So for the longest time, I wrote video game guides, and now I write a bit for tabletop as well, including, sometimes reviews and features on the site as well. But a lot of what I write is explaining particular games to other fellow players.
Right.
What makes it, it's a game journalism is what it usually is called. But what makes it a little bit different is because even just early on, I got into logistics of how the internet drives attention to these pieces. So for the longest time, I've been messing with Google's algorithms, with social media discovery to get eyes on these things. And sometimes it might mean, the typical kind of strategy of posting on different platforms, maybe, creating an infographic of your guide and then posting it somewhere like on Pinterest and Blue Sky as well, in addition on the website. It's a lot of logistics, a lot of like big brain kind of
yes.
strategy, social media stuff. So I call myself a content marketer as opposed to just a video game guide writer or tabletop informative content writer, journalist. I've heard so many terms, but
it's like a million little like. The days there was in theory perhaps a time when someone could just be a writer, for maybe a newspaper or something.
Right. Yeah. And those times were not even that long ago, but unfortunately.
No, I was alive for them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me too. I was around. And then, of course, more strategy. And then recently, these tricks didn't really work anymore with the recent changes on multiple ends. So I would say 2023 onwards, we lost so many small outlets.
Right.
So many people just doing it for fun because they were able to. And that's just really sad.
Because it's a complicated thing where it's like so much of like the skill is not just like, oh, I can write, but I also need to be able to, get people to read the stuff that I write. Like it's
get people to find it. Yeah.
Right. It's like in a lot of ways like the overarching challenge of the modern artist and the person covering the modern artist are one and the same. Of
Mm-hmm.
you can make
absolutely.
You can make a lot of stuff, but how do people see the stuff?
Yeah, that's definitely why I, present myself as the marketer to people. I work with a couple of indie projects right now as well.
Yeah.
A couple of them are tabletop, little zines and little one-pagers or small booklets kind of style of tabletop games. And I also work with a couple of indie game devs who are almost done developing their game. They're kind of late in the production process. But this is when, they're really thinking about, wow, the internet is so noisy. Is it enough if I just post about my game out there? But how do I actually get people to find it? Especially, now, right now that the tools of publishing these games, they're just so available. There's just so much content out there on all platforms.
Right, and it's just like a deluge of everyone also doing that exact same thing at the same time.
Yeah. How do you stand out? Do you only publish stuff that's trendy? Where do you go with it? What hashtags do you use? Who do
right.
you,
do you even use are hashtags dead? Right? Do you use hashtags anymore?
Do you even use hashtags anymore? That's a conversation in itself.
Yeah, it's just like a endlessly kind of like complicated mess of what if anything works at anything to do anything at all. And I've just pieced out on doing that. I'm just like, I'm good. Because it is like just endlessly complicated, and you're going to inevitably run into a company who can do that and pay people to do that. And you're like, oh, I'm a person who can't pay people to do that. What do I then do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, marketing of things and the creative process are very often separated. There's just, one of them is the business of, your project, and the other one is the project itself. I sometimes feel like, and I feel like it's very valuable in this day and age with what's going on, being very human about your marketing and not trying to sell. It really works well for the smaller projects with more niche supportive communities.
Right.
We differentiate a little bit between discovery marketing when you're trying to catch eyes, but not a lot of those people might actually end up buying your product. So, you might post a very flashy video on TikTok from, your game when you kind of went out specifically to present something flashy on the screen, explosions and numbers, with some combo, we're talking about a video game, right? Yeah, but not a lot of those people might actually buy your game. But when you go to, say, smaller communities and you really engage with them and you find the super fans of the genre, and you get those kinds of folks to take a look at your game, and they actually think of you as a person because you're engaging with them and you're talking about them as a, not as a distant brand, as somebody who's like, yes, because I was so passionate about this genre, I decided, guys, why don't we just do this? And they're like, yes! And those folks are much more likely.
Right, it's 30 people who are paying attention to the thing you're doing versus a million people who saw your 30-second clip in a sea of 100 other 30 seconds of clips they saw that day.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And some people don't really even know about this second type of engagement with people because they, associate marketing with ads,
right,
and similar campaigns. Yeah, and that's, what I talk to them about because I'm much more of a conversion, is the term we use, oriented marketer, where I do try to engage with more niche communities for these, products that would, have a more human touch, and where, we could benefit from going after the people who are already interested in what we're doing.
Because that is the complicated, the troubling process of just, existing as an artist means that, oh, I need to either be already kind of like financially secure, maybe, with cushy inherited wealth, or oops, I need to, as an individual, sell my thing, or else I'll just like work a part-time job, which I think is, or work another full-time second job, which I think is what most people just end up doing. They just like, oh well, I guess I just work a job as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when there's turbulence, and recently there's been so much of it.
Yeah,
And
yes,
financial insecurity does not help creativity. You worrying about your bills does not help you work on your
right.
projects. It's a difficult challenge for us, yeah.
And it definitely does feel as, the kind of the whatever money there was there, and how much was there really for like small, unconnected independent developers. There probably was never money available for them, really.
Right.
You kind of probably always very much needed it to know somebody.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I would say that we as an industry grew a lot.
Yeah.
There's far more, we had, as far as tabletop, for example, goes, we had so many new people come into the gateway kind of, gateway drug introduction D&D. Yeah, a lot of people joined Dungeons and Dragons kind of community. And because of that, we have so many people and we have so much discussion going around tabletop that a lot of them also started discovering indie stuff. Yeah, I feel like itch.io, stuff that, the little indie games that get posted on websites like itch.io, there's just been such a wonderful explosion of them. And, a lot of them are also just these smaller projects that you feel like people do as, like you said, when they have a full-time job, and this is where they attempt to get into their hobby or just, share their passion. They're not even trying to really make money off of it. And there's been just so much of it, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah. The life of the hobbyist artist is like not a new one, and it's also like sometimes just a good one to not get yourself trapped in the idea of, oh well, I've got to make a bunch of money, in order, or 10,000 people need to download my game in order for it to be valuable as a game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, oh, 3 people played it, which is, you've somehow found 3 strangers on the internet in the world who are passionate about your thing. That sometimes can be like, way more than enough. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, and maybe, one of them became a close friend because they're just so excited about your game. Yeah, it's lovely stuff. And all it costs you is maybe like one weekend to put together your thoughts into a document. Maybe you didn't really have much to accompany it, but it's still, you put something together, which is already, a lot of us carry pretty cool ideas that we get really either precious about, or we postpone doing something about it. So, putting something out there is already a huge step.
Yeah, especially right, because the worry that it has to be done like the perfect way, because it's like, oh, if this release isn't the proper release, there will be no you get one shot at your wish list time, or you get one shot at your your next fest, or whatever the quote unquote important release is. That keeps scaling. There's always a different new important thing, because a million people will focus on, oh, everyone does wish lists, so now I have to do next fest, but everyone does next fest, and then you have to the impossibility of if there is a good technique, eventually everyone will glom onto that good technique.
Yep.
And then, the ultimate technique is just to find people.
Seriously, yeah. Just make what you're passionate about and find people who agree with you.
Like that is,
really,
I feel like I've noted on the show multiple times. It's very observable that, Indiepocalypse's reach, and especially just say for instance its Patreon, is way outsized compared to my the numbers it does. I don't know if any Indiepocalypse issue has ever been shared 100 times, on any website.
But people know you for sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. How did you? I know you came across through the writing pitch, but were you aware at all of what this thing was before?
Absolutely.
I thrown that?
Yeah, I was aware of it as a journalist. I went to events, to cons as press. For example, PAX East 2023, I
Yes.
believe, is when it might have been the first time I stopped by your booth. I believe you were there. Either you were
I,
there or you were at another event that
I
I
was.
went to.
I might have been at another event. I've done MomoCon a couple times. I did PAX East
Hmm.
last year. Last year was my
Hmm. Hmm.
first. Yes. Last year was my first one, but
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
always out and about, so who knows?
It could have been a mention, could have been a panel, because we were there as press, just covering a lot of indie games at the
Right.
time, and we had a break because of COVID. And 2023 was when everybody was trying to get back into cons now that they
Yes.
opened up again. Yeah, there are
Yes.
so many. Yes, it was lovely. Yeah, we definitely had conversations about who all is driving kind of collections and converse, and actually, yeah, also driving conversations about the indie community. And so all of us knew already about Indiepocalypse. So when I mentioned to my friends that you're so kind as to offer the opportunity to write an article about a game within your circle, that everybody immediately recognized who you were. So we all know.
Well, that is. I mean, that is the thank you. But that is like that arose because of the difficulty. I'm sure as a writer of being passionate about something, but then especially doing freelance pitches, being like, oh, I have a great article that I can write, but she'd be like, well, we're not going to publish it because I don't know what this thing is, or it's not going to do numbers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so much of the publishing today is numbers, social media or on the website via Google Discovery. So,
Right.
absolutely.
So
Everything has a commercial purpose.
so much of that was like, I know people are going to write about. I know people are like, these are good games that people would want to, and developers that people would want to write about. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
let me just give them a platform that is like someone who will never check the metrics on something, that just wants the writing to exist.
that is so lovely. I really appreciate that. And I think, it's much more difficult to do than to organize something that's just, does all you already know, does proven numbers. I feel
Right,
like what
right.
you're doing is much more difficult.
And it's the same, flows back your way, where I'm like, it is. I'm sure it's like, also, these are people who, generally speaking, don't get articles written about them, who aren't interviewed,
Right.
um, because they're like, oh, they're small hobbyist developers a lot of times,
Yeah.
and they, there's two. Someone emailed me, or like I was emailing for someone for contact information for an interview. They're like, what? I get interviewed for this, and that's weird. Um, because like, oh, I just make small freeware games on itch, but like, and this is like a blog that's like simmering inside of me, but it's weird how much emphasis we place on money, um, as being important
Yeah.
in terms of like art,
Yes, producing art. Yeah.
and like, oh, what's worth talking about? Oh, well, it's someone spent a lot of money on it, therefore it must be important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, why don't you go talk about esports and mobile games and
There are there are like there like there are probably countless games that started, you know, were published and then taken down from stores, uh, you know, in all within the span of me doing this project, that probably have 100 times more articles because they, whatever, bought a Game
yeah.
Awards trailer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And it's like, oh, well, it must be important. They spent $1 million to the Game Awards to buy a trailer. Therefore, this is an important video game.
Well, I mean, in a way, now that we're challenged with this whole idea of what counts as worth your time, what is human, what is
Right.
not, what is generic, what is unique, I feel like indie devs will get another opportunity to shine because we're so very human and hands-on and passionate about what we do that
Yes,
we will
yes.
stand out just by the nature of that.
Yeah, like you said, I think you can, like you said earlier, it is way more visible in tabletop currently, I think. Like where people are more interested in picking up, like, just small one sheet games. Uh,
Yeah. I bought a whole box of the Tiny Library, as it's called, from
Yeah.
Indie Press Revolution. Yeah, they published the books, which I have, and now I saw that they have like decks of cards. Every card, back and like front and back, is its own game, and it might be a random table. It might be like, hey, throw this card with an arrow on it, whatever
Yeah.
object it points to. Create a game with it. Go.
Right.
What?
There's like a wide variety of just like like indie press, just a bunch of small indie publishers that are
Yeah.
in scales of like people who make nice books too. We just basically make zine scale stuff. I think it definitely helps that tabletop has like a very physical component. Where even if you're just like borrowing your company's computer to print out your tabletop game, it's still something you can like bring to an event and like sell to people and get passed around, which I think physical stuff occupies a different like space in people's brains,
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting.
than like tabletop stuff or digital things, which I think are easy to like download and forget about.
Is that why you were doing tapes?
That is,
little cute tapes.
that is a big part of it. Of like,
It's really cool. What a cool idea.
Thank you. I've had people even tell me like, "Oh yeah, I got one. I haven't played it yet." But I'm like, you think about it sometimes because you're like, yeah, they're like, yeah, it's on my shelf, and I do think about it when I walk by it.
Yeah, 500 games on, in Steam library forgotten about. The one tape on the bookshelf. Hi, I gotta plug it in.
Right, because that's like
browse through it.
the Steam library is just a list on my computer that's invisible with a million other things.
Right.
But like when I get stuff, whether it's movies or whatever, I put them on a stack and in front of my TV. So I'm like, I got to finish that stack at some point,
That's right. I'll let the physical media come back with the DVDs and, CDs of music. Now we finally get to own stuff we pay for sure. Huh?
Right. And it doesn't like, or even sometimes stuff you pay for just suddenly goes away sometimes because you're like,
Exactly.
This thing that I actually even paid for was in my digital library is no longer in a digital library.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole conversation lately.
Yes.
Around these practices. Mm-hmm.
And you can also I think the underestimated part of it, like you can give it to friends, you can pass it around.
Oh, right. Yeah. I've done it as a teen. I kind of miss that, exchanging CDs.
This idea of like communal ownership of like, sure, I bought a movie, but I can bring it to a friend's house. We can watch it. I can like, it's not like I need to, 1 second, let me log into my Amazon so I can,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, oh no, I have a thing that I bring around. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to drop off and I'm going to lend you it. And the idea of more communal ownership than just like everybody lives in their box and they have their things that they own.
I love that. I like that idea.
But speaking of none of that, I have a couple questions for you that are stock Indiepocalypse questions asked of every guest upon the show, no matter how I am familiar with them, whether they're involved in any of the projects I do or not. And the first one is, hey, what's your favorite type of rock?
My favorite type of rock?
Yes.
I would say a random rock that if it's not a type of rock, but like a rock. It's a random rock that gets stuck in my shoe, and I'm really annoyed with it, but I can't remove it at the time.
Yes.
And when I remove it, I finally take a look at it, and I'm like, you have affected my life for the past 20 minutes of me walking and not being able to remove it.
Right.
I just hate you.
You're like, you're like, can I get it inside the arch, so maybe I don't feel it as much?
Seriously, yeah, because you're rushing so you can remove it. Yeah, you're just stuck with it. But when you remove it, for some reason, it looks, I don't know, it's like it's been with you. It went with you somewhere. And for some reason, it just, at some point, I started romanticizing that whole idea a little bit. I'm like, rocks that get stuck with you, they kind of travel with you someplace.
Yes.
They make you think of them for the straight 15 minutes.
Right. They become a part of like it. A perfect exemplification of like how anything can just like become a part of you, and how
there you go. That's right. That's exactly it.
How our connections of everything are these small connections that we make up. I the true beauty of the rock question is why it's these Rorschach tests that we give each other that I give people every show of. A second question. Hey, do you have a favorite Toho character?
What character?
Toho.
Toho character.
The long-running Bullet Hell franchise, of course.
No, I actually just looked it up. Oh, wow. Yeah, Bullet Hell indeed. That is gorgeous. No, I do not. And now this is going to go on my list.
Perfect.
Because I actually really like this Toho. Interesting.
Glad to slowly share. It's very interesting thing. Long running Bullet Hell franchise with a very active fan game community.
I see that now. No, I probably heard about it before, and I love seeing. I love when something takes me to new grounds.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes. Are we saying new grounds with a space, or new grounds the proper noun?
New grounds is one word as the website.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes, and I just looked it up, and it took me to Toho Project with a bunch of comments and community engagement.
It is a huge, massive thing, a giant thing to fall into. But Mila, thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you.
We are going to be going on a break, and we'll be back in about a minute 55. Goodbye until then. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was, of course... Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. Now I'm on the right one. That was, of course, a Boxcar by Jawbreaker, and I was despairing during the break because I was got hit by the old re-release fucking dating on that, which of course is that this is the important message for the three people, for the people that album was clear from 1994, not 2017. Clarified for people who are viewing this, that will be edited out, but for the live viewers, I know I need to. Anyway, we're here with our next guest, who you may know from the now forgotten second to most recent child, Indiepocalypse 74, with Nashitai, the parts I'm missing. It's my Yuri. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing quite decently. What about you?
I'm doing good. I'm fresh off a new release. I'm just hanging out, relaxing. Got I got caught up on most of my work. As events tend to put me behind sometimes. But I've got a question for you. The other important stock Indiepocalypse question, which is, hey, how'd you hear about this thing?
Well, I each time I went into itch.io, I saw this Indiepocalypse 60 something, 50 something, and I was like, oh, it's so annoying, how this feels, the whole screen, And then I said, oh, I'm gonna actually look up what it is, and I said this seems like exactly the kind of stuff, the kind of place my game should be,
Yes. And then I think you emailed me I don't know if this is the thing. I'm like, I don't know if I said at the time, but I was definitely yes, this is exactly the kind of game that I am looking for for this. It is just because it's the difficulties of what do you do with a game like this besides just put out an itch and be like, all right, it's out, I guess.
I hope someone plays it.
Right. It is, that's the problem with so much of kind of alternative and art games of, he's well, I guess other developers will maybe play it. And that is kind of often the best you can hope for, or feels like. And I'm like, what if other people also play these games?
Yeah.
Is the question I'm asking. And
you'll see the average game on itch has approximately 2 downloads.
Yes.
And it's and sometimes I've played stuff that is oh, this is actually really interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and like I am not drowning in downloads myself, and I think among one of the at least more granted people have to buy it, but um, so that obviously puts a damper on things,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I often wonder what like the upper echelon of like itch looks like, like what is a high follower count on itch?
Oh, I have no idea.
Right.
But I feel like a high follower count on each must be like a low follower count for like a normal internet person that says like, oh, this is like the recognized people, you know.
Right. Like my itch follower is like up to over double what it is on like any other website. I'm at like 5,000 people, but I don't know if that's a lot or a little.
Oh, I don't think I have even close to that. I'm probably like, I don't know, like 40 or something.
Right, and that's the like the complicatedness of like how big is this platform really, especially like for people who are not just game developers,
Yeah.
which is it's the home of the artists and also people who want to play horror games.
Yeah, even then, I feel like I've been pretty lucky with like with my game, with people
Yes.
playing it. It's like I've seen like, well, it's not like a famous game, but I've seen quite some people like put comments and stuff.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
you've got getting more than one comment is a lot on itch,
yeah, it feels like quite a lot. Yeah,
especially like long. I mean, this is kind of the person. It's kind of an example of what we're talking about with Mila in the first section of like finding those people who are like passionate about the stuff.
yeah.
If we've talked around this game for a while, but if people are unfamiliar, how would you describe Nashi Tai?
Naishitai. Well, it's a game about. I don't know if when I get asked this question, I'm always like, do I explain what the game literally is about, like the story, what it literally is about, or what are like the themes of the game,
Right,
But like
that's
like
it's the
the the literal plot of the game is basically, in the main mechanic of the game is eating ramen, and it's
yes,
about a girl that eats ramen in her room, and she remembers stuff, and she also like mutilates parts of her body and takes off parts of her body, and all of this somehow is related. I,
yes,
I, I promise you, it's very related, and it's kind of like an experimental narrative game. It's like a visual novel, but it has like some additional interactive elements that kind of help push the narrative and kind of tell the story.
yeah.
Uh,
It's the you hit at the very top the complicated problem of like most of our language around games is very like what you do in the game,
yeah,
but that defines like often like a relatively small part of what the game is.
yeah,
Because games are much more than like, oh, I guess it's a visual novel, but like a lot of games are also visual novels. A lot of games are
yeah,
just like drastically different than your game are visual novels.
yeah. Like I've seen like I don't even know, like the other day I was in class, and teacher said I'm studying game design,
Yeah.
and a teacher mentioned Needy Streamer Overdose as a visual novel, and I'm like, that's not a visual novel, But it's like, where do you draw the line exactly? Because like, is for example Persona 5 a visual novel because it has a lot of text on it? I would say not, but like I think, yeah, it's like genres are pretty like classification of media is like not a like a very strict art.
Right. Right. That's why music has 8 million little like subgenres.
Yeah, also like when you were asking like how would you describe your game? Like I'm always like a bit reluctant to say, because like whenever I say this term, it's like, oh, I get what is your game, and I'm interested on it. But at the same time, I'm like it wasn't made with the intention of being that genre, and it's a psychological horror.
Yeah.
And it's like I've seen people say like, oh, your game is a psychological horror, or this like a psychological horror game. But it's like I didn't think about it that way when I made it, you know.
Right, right. And sometimes you don't know. I mean, that's the classic of, the art is the one doing the talking.
Yeah,
Sometimes you make something, you're like, oh, I didn't know what I just wanted to make something. And it's not like you didn't have a design document. You're just like, well, I'm going to make a game, and then sometimes you're surprised by what the game yourself like ends up being in some ways.
I hate design documents.
Yes, no, I am increasingly an enemy of gameplay loops, design documents. Like, I just want to, I hopefully 2026 is too aspirational. In 2027, kill the idea of the games requiring any kind of gameplay loop. Not.
I mean, I don't think it's like a. I think that yeah, I get that it's like uh kind of a thing that maybe like constrains you when you're
Yes.
thinking about it, like, oh, what is my game loop, you know? But I think that if you have it like not like a totalitarian rule, like if you know about if you learn about game design and stuff like that, it if you don't have it like a set rule that needs to be followed all the time, it can help you instead of being detrimental, and it can help you a lot. Like I think a lot of my um, design principle with games. Well, I've only released one game, but
Right.
one of my most influential like parts of game design came from interviews with Hugo Martin, the director of Doom Eternal, which is like a very typical, for so to say, like game loop game,
Yes.
you know. And I
Yeah.
feel like I am like total. I don't want to make that kind of game, but knowing about the principles that were applied for that game and how Hugo Martin designed it to invoke the emotions that he wanted, it's like very eye-opening to the ways I can uh, induce certain emotions with game mechanics.
Yes. Yeah. It's more like the kind of like you're saying is like, it's not they're inherently bad. It's more like that they are it's 100% essential.
Yeah,
That is kind of like there's a lot of a lot of assumptions about like what constitutes game design. I think you run into that when you call your game a visual novel. People apply assumptions to it, immediately.
yeah.
Like, oh, here's what that to some people visual novel still just means dating sim,
Yeah.
and that is
I mean, for some people, a visual novel means a meme game
right.
hentai from Steam.
Yes, right.
Like, which I think it's really sad, but that's sadly how the genre looks to many people.
Right, right. It's like, oh, or that's like a joke, a game that like Riot makes, for April Fools.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's more. I try to think of, especially like really broad things like visual novels, like these really broad genres that are not really genres. You can see how like first person shooter is a more of like a genre, to some
Yeah.
degree. But visual novel feels more akin to like an instrument even than like a genre.
Yeah, but I do feel like when designing, I like to like first design an experience and have games that are their own thing,
Right.
and after they are done, maybe like see what labels they go by. Because
Right.
like if you start making I don't know, an RPG, saying, oh, I want to make an RPG, you're going to fall into a lot of, oh, I have to make leveling up, because that's what RPG does.
Yeah.
And those kind of rules that are like set rules that you need to follow are the ones that I think that are like detrimental to game design. If you know why the rules are there, you can um, take them and apply them however you want, but you have to have an understanding on what makes those attributes work in the first place, and
Yeah.
what you are trying to convey with your game.
Right, because otherwise it's too easy to very much fall into like making a lot of design decisions that you don't know why you're making them. You just know that they're things that you're supposed to. They're decisions that you're supposed to make. You're like, oh well, yeah. Uh, of course, you have to run right to left or left to right because it's a platformer.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think that, for example, with my case specifically, visual novels,
Yeah.
uh, I feel like one of the biggest like constraints or rules many developers seem to have with making a visual novel is, oh, I am making a visual novel. It has to have like multiple endings or like
Right.
routes, and then you end up with games that are like there are very good games that even fall into this, and it's like having a game that is clearly meant to be like one story, but the developer clearly like felt like forced, for so to say, to include multiple endings and stuff. And it's like one ending is the good one, and then the other ones are like, why are you even telling me this?
Right. Right. Like it's just like I guess often it's like, oh, here's a fail state to my game that I don't know why, and also it does not give you any kind of like you don't gain any insight by traveling through that path. It just feels like you hit a bad path.
Yeah.
Um, and then you're like, oh well, going through it again to get the better path. It doesn't. You don't like the ideal version of that is like you go through multiple times and you get the experience of essentially replaying something, with new information.
Yeah.
In the same way that you like rewatch a movie knowing how it ends and like you can see things that you weren't thinking about beforehand without that context. But yeah, I can see it's very easy like, oh, here I have to add 6 bad ends, or even the idea of I need to have decisions.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of people, just not even like multiple endings, just player choice. Um,
Yeah, like I follow. I don't know how I think it's called Team something. I think it's the director of the original Fallout games, and he always talks about the player agency. That
yeah.
is like a very important design principle for him. It's like I see his videos, and he's like a very interesting guy. Like he explains us a lot of stuff very well, and I appreciate it a lot. But also, it's like sometimes he goes like, "Oh, I tried this game, and I immediately dropped it because there was no player agency." And it's like, I understand that it's not something that it can be something that doesn't appeal to you, but there are different games trying to make different experiences, and player agency is not necessarily something that has to be in every game.
Right. I think this is a thing I think comes up a lot of the time because games, get treated as software, in that they have like solvable, like good game design is a solvable endpoint that in theory we're all going to reach and agree on,
Yeah.
as opposed to art, which is even if people disagree in people's philosophy of how art works, I don't think someone's going to tell you like that's a bad way of. One would hope that someone's going to be like, well, that's the wrong way to do it. It's like, no, I don't
No,
want
yeah.
to. But I think with games sometimes you run into that problem of like, well, that's not a good way to do game design or whatever. Of
No, yeah, and like I think that something you will find a lot if you talk with people that maybe have are not too much into video games, but like do play video games, is that they often like attribute certain characteristics of games they like, and they end up in their mind like, oh, this is why a game is good, while it's ignoring really like a lot of the the design principles that surround those mechanics that they like, that actually are what makes a game, an experience, like enjoyable. Like for example, someone can say, "Oh, I think good games are the ones that where you move fast and like have um, many weapons." For
Yeah.
so to say, like that's something I've literally heard, you know. And the same can be done with like I don't know what I said earlier, like RPGs. Oh, like a good RPG needs to be the one that offers many choices and player urgency. And it's like those are attributes that has that experience because it's trying to evoke something specific. It doesn't mean that every game needs to have those attributes to be a good game.
Right, right. It's I like the scary movie where I got scared. Why aren't all movies trying to scare me?
No, yeah, exactly.
It's the simplest iteration of that idea of like, I just want more of the same thing. And I think part of it is that because games just takes so many games take so much time,
Oh my god, yeah.
that is like a brutal thing of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this game. It's gonna take just a casual 40 hours, whatever.
No, yeah.
I mean, part of it, like the times when I start dipping back into like sort of modern, larger releases, I found myself wondering, like, do I really want to do any of this side stuff, or like
Oh yeah.
or like the kind of like non story-ish side stuff, of just like, oh, here's whatever an outpost, defeat the outpost, get a little
And I
a
think
little bauble.
length specifically is one of those things that many developers like feel forced to include, because like I remember playing Nier Automata and being like, okay, this is a great story, uh, these are great characters, I love this. Why did it need to be like 50 hours long, where I was just constantly going around and around in the map doing like random bullshit, you know?
Right. I am on my way to play that. I started playing Drakengard this year, just
Oh, I
recently.
hope I don't deter you. It's a good experience
Yes,
overall.
no. I really, I'm an early Nier booster of the first Nier, and so I'm like, man, this game was cool. And then, but I want to go back and play some of like other Yoko Taro's other stuff and be like,
Yeah,
let me try Drakengard. And
yeah.
Drakengard's got
I really,
problems, but
I really wish to really get into all of the Yoko Taro games, and I've thought about it, and I will eventually. But it's also like I will have to spend like 200 hours
yes.
into this, you know.
And like, is Drakengard good? I don't know. Like, it's like a very mediocre like Dynasty Warriors kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's got a cool sense of style to it. It's got a
Yeah, but
bunch.
you end up spending off those hours for those little like things you can grab from it. Like there's like most of the time, perhaps you will not be having like your best time, but there will be like some aspect that you'd say like, oh my god, this is absolutely incredible. You know?
Yes, yes. Like once you start getting like, because it's similar with multiple endings. I think it really you start to pick up steam once you get like the first ending.
Yeah.
But also like it's a perfect thing to play on the side. But I have a question for you. A couple of questions, in fact. First off, hey, what's
Oh
your
yeah, I
favorite
know
type?
this quiz.
You're ready. You're prepared. Have you got an answer prepared for what's your favorite type of rock?
Oh, I'm not super prepared, but I thought about it a bit, and I think perhaps it's like a lapis lazuli,
Okay.
and like like low key because of Minecraft.
Okay.
Uh, like whenever I played Minecraft recently, I mean, not, I haven't played much Minecraft, but I used to play a lot and do like lapis lazuli patterns in the floor, like a lapis lazuli block with like a wood, and
Yeah.
I think it looks cool. And I've also seen the rock in real life. I mean, it's the rock. I think my countries were like one of the few countries that has that rock, and it's a very beautiful rock.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing of like rocks. We made it. There's a bunch of unique rocks, and only some places have them. And what a anyway.
Yeah. I'm not a super rock enthusiast, but
Neither am
rocks are
I.
cool.
But I like to hear. I like to hear about people's rock opinions. And second question, hey, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Oh, I also expected this one, and I gotta say, like, I don't think I'm going to break any grounds here, but I think it's Reimu.
No, that is perfectly allowed. I'm not here to name and shame people for picking the wrong Toho character. You don't
I
need
do
to.
have to indulge into Toho a lot more, though. I've only played 6 and 7. Oh my god, no. And like a bit of like I played back in the day, like I think it was like 3 and 4 Toho, something like that.
Well, there's a lot of them. There's
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I've played very little, and I have also not really seen much of the fan-made stuff either.
well, it's always like that's in some ways that's like the best like intro for some people, I think, because they're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
scared of bullet hells or whatever. I'm gonna play.
Oh yeah, I especially wanted to get into Toho recently. I mean, I've been getting into a lot of shoot 'em up games because I am developing a shoot 'em up game.
Yeah.
So that is something I want to do, but yeah, I still gotta start really getting into it.
Yes, no, I was recently. We're not gonna get too down the weeds of shmup games. I've been playing a lot of compile stuff recently. I was like, what if I could start getting into a Lest? So I started playing a lot of Alest games.
Of what?
Alest, ALSETE, early compile shooters. A lot of it on like the MSX and around that era.
Is it like that? Wait, can you name one of those games?
Oh, Alest.
Oh, Alest. Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know that one, sadly.
What does compile do now? Like, what is? I'm trying to think of what compile is like. I mean, they also made Puyo Puyo, and also got big.
Oh, okay. I've been playing a bit of the cave shooters,
Yes,
like
yeah.
God on Patch.
I've dabbled a little bit with Cave as well, but early compile, like pre-dissolution compile. I'm looking at the history of. It's funny because now compile also does like hyperdimension. Like that is their other.
What is
It's the weird RPGs where there's anime girls that are video game consoles.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Actually, shoot 'em ups is also one of those genres that are like very strictly like they have like certain characteristics where almost every game of the genre shares them, like no checkpoints,
Yes.
or like very limited checkpoints, and
right,
yeah,
and there's also like subgenres. I'm sure if you start digging around inside of that, of like, oh, what are these subgenre conventions?
Yeah, has a lot of conventions.
Well, Mayuri, thank you for joining me here.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're going to go on another break, and we'll be back in about a minute 7. A lot of quick breaks today.
Okay. See ya.
See you for now. And welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Kodomo Gun with Nausea. We are here with our third and final guest of Indiepocalypse Radio for the day, who you may know from issue... where'd my little guy go? I think it's 64. Yes, 64. I had the wrong window open. With Flight Risk, it's Aiden Strong. Aiden, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm hanging, relaxing. Now, you've had this question answered before. I got to ask you, hey, how'd you find this thing? I asked of you about a year ago at this point.
I know. It's funny because I heard the question asked twice, and then I mentally didn't prep for it, despite having heard it twice now. I think I probably stumbled upon it just through conversation. I feel like talking with people and figuring out where they're posting stuff and where they find stuff. Indiepocalypse just kept on coming up, so I I think that's kind of how I stumbled upon it.
Well, that is like the way people seem to find it, and I always ask this question so that I can go, how do I continue to get more people to find it, so that more people can continue to find it and submit their game so it continues to exist. And the main two are just like, oh, it was on the front page of Itch a lot, or like that kind of like, or like your answer, the daisy chain of I was in it, so then someone else was like, oh yeah, I'll try to be in it as well.
No, exactly. Yeah, like looking at the contributors, I just saw a bunch of my friends that also contributed previously. So I was like,
Right.
oh, this is awesome. This is exactly where I want to be.
Yeah, it's a handy little like, and the beauty is there's always people kind of like infinitely making games, so.
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing to think about is like, oh, we're not at the point where people were not born yet when I started Indiepocalypse, but we are at the point where it's like it is longer than an entire like college, like an entire run of college, an entire 4-year college run. So it's like, oh yeah, I finished a game design program, and Indiepocalypse thing was already existed when I started college.
Oh yeah.
So there's all this kind of like, but enough about this thing. We're not here to talk about this. We're here to talk about your games. If people do not know, what is Flight Risk?
Yeah, Flight Risk is a game where you play as like an air traffic controller, and all you can do is communicate to this kind of rogue flight. So you have to kind of decipher the messages that are coming to you and send some messages back to the rogue flight to help them land their plane. It's kind of the rough premise.
Right. And the important thing is it's all strictly like letter number coded,
Yeah, exactly. I was really interested in like a system that rewarded you for memorizing certain parts of it, and it was really just like a knowledge game. So
right.
The system, you send messages through these like codes like C4 or like D9, and you have to use kind of this pamphlet you have to decipher what those mean and to send them back and forth between the pilot and yourself to help them get what they need. All while like some flashing lights appear and it gets really stressful because the pilot's like, I'm not doing too hot right now.
Right. It's not like a like turn-based puzzle game or anything. It is immediate. Like if you just sit there, you'll just lose,
Yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted like the first 2 times you lost and you didn't even know why you lost. And you'd
right.
be like, oh, it's because they were like slowing down and they shouldn't have done that. But yeah, it's all real time and you have to kind of decipher very quickly.
Right, which it gives you like a lot of like. It is not too like it's funny. We talk about mechanical design, and how that drastically differs in terms of like what the context of a game is, despite having similar mechanical design principles. Because I would say Flight Risk has a similar design principle to some degree to a recent Indiepocalypse from last month, How to Walk Out the Door. Which is a typing game, but another game that reward you. I say is based a lot on repetition and like becoming and like familiarity born through repetition.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I think like a goal of mine was thinking about like other repetition or like information games. I like go to my screenshot folder and I see like all these screenshots I took of in-game elements so I could like see them on the side while I played. And I was like, my goal is to make people screenshot information in the game.
Right.
Like that's what I want to happen.
Right, just like so they can have a second monitor and like all the pages up and just do it very quickly, and then which is in a way, in theory, like if they were in person, if this was an in-person thing, that's something they could do in front of them of, just splaying all the papers out where they need to see them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of the like some of the feedback and like responses I've gotten are like, well, you should be able to like see the paper and the screen at the same time. And I was like, yeah, it would be a lot easier if you could see both at the same time.
Right.
The point is, it's really frustrating to swap between all of them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the infinite challenge of a video game. Of it sure would be easier if I could do X, and there is no game where you could not do a thing that you had wanted to do, like especially like a climbable surfaces. Like you look at so many things like you go, oh, well, I as a human being could climb that, just like me, regular guy. Why can't cool video game character climb that?
Yes, yeah, totally. And like I have a communication system where you can only send like 2 characters.
Right.
Like, if you can send 2 characters, you can send a lot more than just characters.
Right.
But I've like made this limitation to make the ludix of it work.
Right. You can start using a lot of language. You like you can send one of the messages is no, and is not, and for that is like it's a something. It's not no.
I thought about that. I was like, this could be N0 because I was doing like letter than a number, and I was like, no, this is gonna be better if it's like something completely different.
Right. And
yeah.
And the fun of just like, oh, but also like a lot of it's not all strictly like puzzle based, There's like I guess it is part of the puzzle, but there's a whole like emotion category of like, hey, how you feeling,
Yes, yeah, and you can ask the pilot how they're doing, and as their ship gets more and more destroyed, they're like, I'm not doing so hot. Or I think like the last message the pilot sends before, if you're unable to succeed and they crash, they just kind of start spamming like, I'm scared. And I was really I played Everest Pipkin's I think it was the Cloister, which was like a 2-player. It was about landing a plane together.
Yeah.
And I played that with my friend. It was like a RPG game, and I was like, wow, I wonder if this emotion that I'm feeling about like communicating with someone who I don't know if I'm going to communicate with again, could I do that over like a digital game? And I think that like feeling was what I was trying to go for, and then I added all the puzzle stuff on top of it.
Right, and it is something like, not unlike the rock in the shoe in the first segment. This faceless digital representation of a pilot is a thing that you can form a connection to in this very tiny frame of time of, like, how long is it? Like 5-10 minutes or something? I'm trying to.
Yeah. Each
or a little
is
bit
around,
longer,
like 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, depending on how well you do. But
right. So depending if you like crash it immediately, if you're like, oh no, just like slow down, put up your flaps.
Yeah. No. Yeah. The time can vary a decent amount, but yeah, I feel like the emotional connection you get pretty immediately. Like I just want to have this like ambient feeling of you being the only person who can talk to this pilot, and it's like it's all your responsibility.
Right, and that pushes you to be like, okay, well, because I know it's short, it's theoretically like, oh, I can do this, I can learn this, and I can finish it in a relatively short, but like, because I think talking about game length, that's something that like if a game is supposed to be like super long, it's harder to create a singular experience that you have to repeat over and over again if it's going to be like, well, this is going to, if a full session is like an hour,
Yeah, I was thinking about, I think I had just come off of playing Outer Wilds as well, and I was thinking about like speed runs of Outer Wilds where they just know all the information and immediately do all the things they need to do. Or like there's a speed run of Gone Home. You can get an achievement for speed running that.
Right.
And I loved how like weird it looks to see someone like run into a wall. They like open up a door and they just know it's there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hypothetically, you could like one shot my game. Like you could just do it first try if you know exactly what's happening. But for most people, you'll fail for the first time. You'll fail for the first like 6 times, and that's where like maybe the length comes in. But like theoretically, all the stuff is there. Like you don't gain any skill. You don't gain any like in-game skills.
Right. It's all like knowledge repetition stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was interested in that as well. Like knowledge as the like leveling up.
Yeah, because it is an interesting. There's a lot of games, use they sort of like knowledge gate things to some degree. Like a lot of, you could, what is a speed run of like what's it called? Oberdin look like? You just know all the answers. You go, I just do it real quickly.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you open up the book and you're like immediately know everyone who did everything and why it happened.
Right.
And that's like so funny to watch in this like great way. It's like, oh, you just know. Like, yeah, of course, yeah, you're gonna solve it immediately.
But it also is a great kind of example of like beating a game is not the same thing as experiencing it.
Totally.
Because like
yeah.
Like getting, like if you walked into like a flight risk game with like these kind of like deductive games with a walkthrough and just follow the walkthrough, like what did you get out of it?
Yeah. Like you can do all the correct actions and still not really understand it. I know, like I really enjoy watching people play games like in Outer Wilds or Oberdin and seeing them figure it out, and it's kind of. I mean, you were talking about it previously, like rewatching a movie again. Like you have a very different take on it watching someone else do it, and you're like, oh, you don't know all of these things that you're gonna figure out, and I'm excited for you to learn those things.
Right, and that's the benefit also like of a shorter game, where it's like you can do that with movies pretty easily. Going, oh yeah, I want to see someone, watch through, or I guess that's also like a dreaded experience you can have of like, I want to show someone a movie, I wonder if they'll like it.
Oh yeah, totally.
But,
I was watching Knives Out with someone, and I like forgot that there was like a I forgot you didn't know who had done it. Like you didn't know. Have you seen it before?
I have, yes.
Okay, I didn't know. I forgot that it was like a twist that she didn't mean to do it. Like the whole twist of the plot. So halfway through, I was like, who do you think did it? To my friend, and they're like, well, clearly it was the main character, right? That's what the whole thing's about. And I was like, like,
right.
Totally fumbled it.
Right, because that's not like the reveal. That's not quite the reveal of it anyway.
Exactly, yeah. But like watching it for the second time, you get like a different question you're kind of asking. Like it is the whodunit versus like the twist that Knives Out normally does.
Right. I've not seen the following two. I think about it sometimes, of like, oh, I should. I was thinking like, we don't have enough time in the day to be like, oh, I should watch movies.
No, totally. I feel that 100%. I feel like people reference all these movies and they go on my list. I'm like, I'll get to them eventually.
I had a weird experience. I just see the on Thursday I went to the On Cinema Live show, and part of it was like they were like, I don't have time to explain people on cinema. I encourage it if you're into weird alt comedy, but they're like, who? Part of it was they're seeking out movie buffs, and the first question was, stand up if you've seen E.T. And I'm like, I've never. And the person next to me, there was a couple next to me, and one had asked the other like, you never seen it? And she was like, I just don't feel like standing up. And I was gonna like, well, I have actually never seen that movie. Because realizing that I have a weird film gap. Like if I didn't see like very tentpole stuff when I was growing up, I just did not see that, and now I just watch like more like fringe stuff, or more
totally
more like art house stuff. So I have a weird knowledge gap of like E.T. or whatever. Like very foundational. Those like very like, oh, everyone's seen this or that, or I'm like, no. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that, but I've of course seen A Brighter Summer Day.
I remember over COVID, me and some friends were watching like a bunch of Studio Ghibli movies.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let's pick one no one has watched before. So we watched Porco Rosso, but I hadn't seen any Studio Ghibli movies. So that was my first one I watched was Porco Rosso. And I was like, this is a weird introduction to this. I feel like I've skipped all the normal ones and gone straight to the more niche ones. But just because I hadn't seen any previously.
Right, and it's like you can have that kind of like. I wonder if we're starting to see more of that. Like, I feel like we are starting to see more of that with games, with time, as games feel like they've been clinging on to the idea of a monoculture stronger than any other medium. But that's eroding more with time as well. Of like, yeah, of course I haven't played like. I'm trying to think of like what is a famous video game. what's a famous video game?
Well, I feel like a lot of people like will say they like Mario is probably something that has actually not been played by a lot of people, but like is an understood famous video game.
Yes, and that's a funny question that I sometimes ask on a group segment of maybe I'll ask it during this group segment about people's relationship to Mario. And a lot of people on the show will be like, "Oh, I've never really played. I've played like maybe I've played one, or I haven't really played any Mario games." You know?
Yeah. I think I'm probably in the latter. I've played like one or two, or like emulated a couple of them, but I don't think I have like a deep emotional tie to Mario.
Right, but he's got movies and everything.
He's multiple movies. It's crazy.
He's got 3 of them, and one of them is interesting. That's fair. I've never seen the 2 recent ones, and I probably never will. But that first one, if folks have not seen the original Super Mario Brothers movie, it's worth a watch. It's a weird thing.
I always on the topic of like film adaptations, I like used to have the rule where if a friend recommended an anime, I'd watch it, but if there was a movie / live action version of it, we had to watch it afterwards. After we finished the show, like we had to sit through the entire like Full Metal Alchemist live action movie, and we had to watch it.
That is very close to one of my favorite practices that I do with a friend sometime. Of like, a thing we've done a couple of times that I love to do is like watch. I think we started with like we watched like the first Hellraiser, and then we watched like Hellraiser 6. I was just like, hey, watch it, like it, and like it also like makes you really appreciate like oh yeah, and like oh well Hellraiser is like a schlocky, but like oh no, there was like craft in this game, you know, or craft in this movie that like is clearly lost when you put it up against the way worse thing.
I've been a similar bit is I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and I am very interested in watching all of it, but in reverse season order.
Okay,
starting with like what people think is the worst, and then going backwards.
Or I was gonna say there's so many of them. Just watch it in chronological order once they're done with them.
That's true.
Do it Star Wars style. Just watch chronologically.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Or would you like, because there's also like joy in watching kind of like shitty stuff, you know?
Oh, 100%.
I think I'm trying to think of like there was 2. I think we did one night did a very cursed double feature of like Megalopolis and Attack of the Clones. Of like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like I feel like there is like joy in watching the like. Bad stuff. Like I did see the Minecraft movie like live in theaters, and the experience of seeing like a 13-year-old get kicked out because he like threw his popcorn because he's so excited. I'm like, you can't get this at home. Like this is what I came here to see. Right.
That's it's a different like at that point like it's a movie. That's how Shakespeare intended, you know. we're back in the theater of the round, and people are rowdy and throwing stuff and yelling at people.
Yes, exactly. Or like seeing this 13-year-old's friends, they're all like, "Oh my god, he got kicked out!" Like they're all like whispering for the rest of the movie. I was like, "This is the entertainment. This is the beautiful part."
Right. This is the beautiful communal experience of humanity that we call art.
Yes, 100%. And then like wasn't paying attention to the movie, but just watching this social interaction.
Yeah, because like whatever, there's a million movies. There's what is such a thing. The idea of essential art is very silly. There's too much art for anything to be universally essential, you know. Who cares?
Yes, totally.
Just dig into what you're into, you know.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of stuff in the space of what you're into. Like, there will constantly be more stuff because other people are into the same things, and you'll just find more and more, and it's great.
Right, and they keep making more and more art every single day, as it turns out.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think I am losing track of The thing I forgot to do is sometimes, like, what was the time when I started? I feel like we are getting there, so I'm going to ask you. Because the problem is that I never actually hit the 20 minutes on the dot, so I always go over, and then so I can never go, okay, well, it's been an hour. It's like, oh, it's been an hour 20, but was the first segment 30, and the next segment was 40, and then who knows? But, Aiden, I've got a couple questions for you. I hope you're prepared for them.
I am ready for these ones.
Hey, what's your favorite type of rock?
My favorite type of rock is like a flat skipping rock. So I'm like material agnostic, but more like the shape of the rock such that you can skip it on the water. That's my favorite type of rock.
Perfect. And Toho, you got a favorite one?
I do not. I'm not a Toho player or experienced engager. I'll answer a different question for you.
Okay.
My favorite Slay the Spire character is the Silent.
Okay, I will allow it. Acceptable. There's much fewer of those. I guess you can count the enemies as well.
I guess so. Yeah.
But that's another. That's another thing I need to prevent myself from. I like deck builders.
The second one is so good. I've spent a lot of time in it already.
But I've really gotten better at training myself onto completable games, as I call them.
That makes sense.
Mostly because I know I will. It's a slippery road to me just playing Magic again, and I can't play Magic again.
You don't want to play with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new Magic set?
Listen, I have feelings about how the Fortnitification of art or whatever, or the Fortnitification of everything, which is no, I do not. I was at PAX East. I saw the giant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle things. I was like, no, thank you. I'll pass, please. I mean, last year. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No. You know what? Let's go on a break, and we will come back in about a minute 49, and we have plenty of time to talk all about what is your favorite IP that you want to see put onto a Magic the Gathering card, and many other exciting questions on the other half of a break. Goodbye for now. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Printhead with Make a Day, and now the back with the whole crew. Welcome back, entire crew of people.
Hello.
Hey.
So I got to ask. It was alluded to in the previous segment. Hey, what's everyone's relationship to Mario? We know the guy.
All right.
He's got a red hat, red clothes. Kind of runs around a lot all the time. Sometimes he turns into animal guys. What's your feelings about him? How are you and Mario doing these days?
I think he's okay.
He's alright.
I played quite some Mario games on the Wii.
Yeah.
Like I used to play Mario Galaxy 2. That was very good, and New Super Mario, and Mario Kart as well. But that's like another different thing, right? And I don't know, like I played Super Mario Galaxy again recently because I restored my Wii, and I think it's very awesome. But I also played Mario Odyssey like some years ago, and I found it like okay. Like I'm not super enthusiastic about Mario. I just find it alright.
We didn't really have NES. Soon after collapse of USSR.
I need to ask, Mila. I keep asking people, and a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. Were you a Dendy owner?
I was.
Yes!
I owned Dendy, and I played Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
The two. The whichever one is the. I don't remember the name on the cartridge, but the
Right,
one
right.
that's
Who knows what the name
classic
on the
NES
cartridge
game.
was?
Yeah, whatever it was. It was the jumping thing with the tubes.
Yes.
The green tubes, right? Yeah,
Okay.
I played that a lot as a kid. Yeah, we had a couple of Dendies just in the family. So yeah, I had a bootleg
Yes.
NES.
No, I'm a fan conceptually of the Dendy of the. You're not going to give us a Nintendo console? Fine, we'll just make our own.
That's right. Exactly. That's what happened there.
I like that little. I like that little elephant guy.
I
I
didn't
explained-
know about the existence of this.
No?
Yeah,
and-
this is my first time hearing about it.
Oh
too.
yes.
Yeah, nobody ever knows about it, so I have to explain that it's a bootleg NES console.
Yeah.
But my husband had just it cracked him up that it's like Dendy. Okay, it's not even spelled the same way. It was funny.
Yeah. Yes, Dendy's basically a classic Russian bootleg of the NES, of the Famicom even. Not of the NES, it's very like of the Famicom.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's just people will recognize what NES is when I explain it to.
You know, my first console was like a copy of the Wii that was
Right.
called the Wii Knee, and it had like I don't even know if those games were like real games. They just seem like dreams now. Like,
Right.
It was like 10 years behind its time. You know, like some shit like that.
Right. The people often forget living in like the US of like, oh yeah, everyone just has all the video game consoles that I have. No. They just like or like has them at the same time, not 10 years after they came out in the US,
Oh yeah, I mean we did have Wii's, but I think my parents were just like, "Oh, these kids probably will think it's the same shit, so we're
Right.
just going to buy the cheap one."
Right. Also, like, how much is a Wii? $8,000 or whatever.
Yeah, it was probably expensive.
I feel like that first Mario game I played was like I didn't grow up with any consoles, so it was like a Flash recreation of
Yes.
Super Mario.
Well,
So, like,
I-
Super Mario Flash was the first
I'm
one
pretty
I played.
sure me as well.
I
Like a Flash, Flash
I-
games.
I had gone to a friend's house, not a friend's house, a friend that you went to their house once in your life. That kind of friend. I don't know what that like.
Yeah,
That
get
scale of
that.
friend, but they had a computer that had like Mario on it, and it was like I couldn't track it down for the longest time. I'm like, what was that game? And it's probably that same like like PC Mario bootleggy sort of thing.
Hmm.
That was like not quite a Mario, but it was. And now I'm blanking on like what it was called, like the PC Mario, or like how you find that.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of games I played in my childhood that I would have no way to find at all.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You just go on a spiral trying to find a particular one. You find a lot of other cool ones that you're like, whoa, there's so many games I didn't know existed, and you try to find that.
No,
Yeah.
I recently, I think all this year, maybe this year and a bit of last year, played through all of the Superboy games, which was the like that. I think it was MSX Mario bootlegs
Right.
that are just like kind of janky, kind of busted. They look a little bit like a Mario, but definitely,
Yeah.
definitely not Mario.
Hmm.
Kind of scrolls bad. Everything kind of just like looks sort of bad.
Pink.
Close
It's Mario,
enough.
but just like strictly worse.
Yeah, but it's like man, it also does make you appreciate. We talked about earlier. Is like I like when you go fast and it has guns or whatever. But it's like there's like a lot of nuance to what makes games good to play that you don't think about, and that is
That is just like the superficial aspects of it.
yes. So like, hey, folks, get yourself an MSX.
Is it lagging just for me? Or
And no, I think for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, Andrew, you started cutting out.
Andrew died.
He died.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yeah, gone. Now we have the chat all to
I'll be
ourselves, and we
back
can
in a
talk about
second.
anything we want.
Is the stream even going? Like,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
to know.
We don't even know. It could be mischievous, and then nothing comes of it.
oh, I think the stream. I think the stream is all right.
Yes, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm back.
All
it
right,
was my
good.
microphone. It was purely my
Oh,
microphone.
hello.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Now,
so
that's
that
happened
wasn't a
before in the
connection.
past, and it was like some me opening too many tabs and my computer getting mad at me, and then it would reboot on its own. But that time it was just I need to unplug and replug in my microphone.
Yeah.
But you didn't miss anything. I was just talking about Superboy. You know.
You're saying that everybody needs to get an MSX.
Yeah, I could hear
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's a little, like a little bit of because my first computer was like a Windows computer. I did not have any of the other sort of like personal computers like Commodores or MSX or ZX. It's all like just before my time, and also we got a computer relatively late. I think, all things considered.
That's like way before my time.
Right. Yes. And that's also the more I do the show, there's more like I like to cue on things of that where like, oh yeah, before my time that are like I trust is also before all the guest time. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, like the I'm sure there are guests that are like, when did the PS2 come out? The PS2 came out right. PS2 came out in 2000.
That's before I was born.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. There's plenty of contributors that who were like, "Oh, the PS2 is older than I am," and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's like a classic."
Huh.
And I'm like, "Oh, that's like a classics of consoles," like, "Oh, that was me growing up." The difference, but I think that is also creates like a different perspective that people are having not grown up through like console evolution, so to speak.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, for example, a lot of people on like not very first world countries like mine, like probably have like a lot of experience with like, oh, I used to have like much older stuff
Yeah.
Yeah.
at my time.
Exactly.
But like personally, I feel like for me it was more like, oh, I didn't really have many like computer things at all, because like my family wasn't very into like consoles and video games and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like we take that huge bit of granted for like video games assumption that, oh no, the U.S. is like the default assumption of how video games work,
Yeah.
or like U.S. Japan part of Europe. Like, oh yeah, that's just video games. Like their perspective is the perspective everyone has, rather than like there is a wide swath of people who are like, yeah, no, we weren't getting releases just like as they came out.
Right. Yeah, I had spent so much of my childhood playing an equivalent of the NES, or
Right.
Famicom. So
Right. And like these 30-in-1 carts, not like not like official Nintendo releases of like what like early era games can we cram that we can cram on a single cartridge.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I think I personally like played mostly like Flash games. 'Cause
Right.
It was
Yeah.
computer, not
Yeah.
like specifically
Flash games.
like a console. And I guess, I mean, at the time, I don't even think I would have had the means necessary to even like install like a classic computer game.
Right. No, we had very few like games that could like run on our computers, like it was like, oh, we can run very cheap stuff. I remember I think because I liked SimCity like very ambitiously, like I'm gonna try Spore, and it just simply did not run on my computer.
No, yeah.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, oh yeah, this just like
Yeah.
basically does not work on this computer. Like, well, I guess I'm gonna go back to playing The Sims.
Yeah. I have a whole collection of Flash games downloaded. I was ready. I
Right.
went through all my websites and downloaded them all when I heard that, discontinuing the plugin. Plus, I had some saved in the past anyway that were my favorites. So
Right.
I have a whole bunch on a drive somewhere.
And we fortunately have Flashpoint preserving a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also swinging back, because there was that time where after Unity web player, Flash got sunsetted, so the Unity web player stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're starting to think more and more stuff is now publishable through HTML5 and browsers and stuff, and I think that's another generation's Flash is playing HTML5 games. Games are just oh yeah, I can play this game in browser. Means I can play it on my phone, probably.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I was going to say you can play Quake 3 in browser right now.
Right.
Oh.
And
Really?
that removes both the cost barrier and also the hardware barrier generally, to just be able to play games just straight from your browser, which kind of I think that's where itch and indie devs thrive then, of oh, people can just play their games. And I think as more people get into that, you'll get more and more people just oh yeah, I feel more people gravitating towards itch the longer I do this,
Yeah.
of it is becoming Newgrounds again for just a new generation.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. I definitely sometimes I pop on because some of the TTRPG random table or tool stuff, they have the built-in little widget, and I just pop on and I'm random map generation.
Yes,
Weatherpoo is so popular. Yeah.
And the TTRPG community is very good of having community copies of things.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate that so much. I think that's one of my favorite parts of Edge. And sometimes I just buy extra just when I can, just to get people the community copies. Yes!
Because a lot of them, how they work in a lot of cases is people throw up something that's every time someone buys it at this tier, or every time someone buys one, a community copy gets added into the pool of... Because, not inherently, because there are solo TTRPG stuff and journaling style games, but a lot of tabletop games are inherently multiplayer. So getting it in more people's hands is part of something you need, almost inherently need to do. And it really just kind of allows people oh, and that is while not functionally, while not technically digital, a device does not need a lot to run a PDF,
Mm-hmm.
Very good chance any device you have will run a PDF and be able to open it.
Yeah, I find browser play has also made it easier for small, when I think of small MMOs or small multiplayer games to be way easier, more indie multiplayer things that are just in browser or just a website. That's been really exciting to see too.
Yeah, Return of Browser MMOs. I played them as a kid. I remember playing, the Neverwinter Night clones and freaking browser, whatever, simplified interface and whatnot, but they were heavily inspired by those games. Yeah, I love seeing the return of browser games, MMOs.
Yeah, it's and it's also a thing that kind of in its own way sidesteps having to worry about monetization, because well, it's a browser thing. I can't sell a browser thing, so I don't have to stress myself out about selling my game. But it is there's, and it also makes things more easily global.
True.
We talk about event overlap here and there, but it's hard to justify going to an event if you're not oh, I can go there for a job, or I'm going there to make my money back, or I'm it's still pricey just to, I think we talked about this maybe even in the pre-show of like, just going to an event is just expensive. Like,
Yeah.
just the physical act of getting there and then staying there.
Taking time off your work,
Right.
as you mentioned in the pre-show, people sometimes don't realize it, but yes, you're probably going to be busy the day before, like the evening before, might be the day before, depending when you're flying in.
Right. How far are you flying away? Can you justify driving straight from the airport to your, straight from your work to the airport, and will you get there with enough time?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have to stay there. And if you're like very prissy like me, and you're like, I don't want a hostel, I want a hotel, because I like to have my own space. That's my one luxury in life, is a hotel. Because
if you have stuff that you're bringing with you and then taking away that you bought at the event,
right.
Some of the stuff like hostels might be more difficult to do too.
Right. 'Cause, like, how much space do you have? How much space do you need? Yeah. It's all a whole big thing. But
it's expensive. Getting more expensive.
I know. Yes, things do not get cheaper. I mean, fortunately, that U.S. dollar is going down in value, which, if you got to go to the U.S., your money spends further.
But gas goes up, flights go up.
Yes.
Or inflation goes up. Hotels, people travel around less. Hotels go up anyway.
Everything just goes up. Everything just
goes up. Yeah.
Everything just infinitely skyrockets up forever, and then you're like, why does everything cost money? Man, money.
Right.
We really screwed ourselves when we invented money.
This is stupid bartering. I would rather give you potatoes and rice to give me good games.
Yes, yeah, we really kind of messed ourselves up there. But whatever. I was like, why is this? I got mildly distracted because I was on someone's Tumblr. I was like, that's the same logo as the cover art, because they had reposted it. That explains a lot. But it's a fun example of the interconnectedness of this project of, hey, look, it gets people to find each other,
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I've often said that in the absolute worst case scenario, at the very least, contributors to Indiepocalypse get 9 new fans,
Yeah.
among their fellow contributors.
Yeah.
Because it is like, the community of it, if you're not like, especially if you're not like a very online person, I think can be difficult, because like, if even if you're online, like if you don't have your foot in the door, like how do you even start? You're just like, I guess I'm just going to post constantly, I guess, until people start paying attention to me.
Yeah. But it's like also like I feel like with the internet stuff, it's like you need to like be constantly posting, but also like I feel like perhaps it wouldn't be much of a problem, but I don't want to like be annoying, and then people be like, oh, probably that game sucks because this person is constantly posting.
Yes. It is always very annoying when like I do like a very like online post and you get rewarded for it. Like, this sucks. I hate like getting rewarded for behavior I don't like. Because
it's also hard with some of the experimental stuff, because you're like, I can show you a screenshot or like a video, but like it's like a piece of paper that's relevant to the game, but it doesn't look that interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah, like for my game, for example, it's like a bit difficult on the marketing, because it's like only 20 minutes or less. So it's like, how do I market this without like showing everything?
Spoiling it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you like really convey this idea of like, this is my game, like, oh yes, it's a screenshot from a visual novel, and like, yeah, I like the visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
difficult.
And that's
I mean,
like,
it's this trap of like being able to represent like a game in a like not game format. Like you'd want to send them like 30 seconds of gameplay
Right.
that they can interact with, but you can't do that in a tweet. So your like game gets compressed to a screen, like an image or a video.
right. That was
Yeah.
like when I was making trailers. I was like, how do I cut a trailer for a Twine game? You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, here's 15 30 seconds of me clicking on text hyperlinks, and trust me, the
Like-
text is good. You're gonna have to trust me
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, that's exactly the point. Like with story games, it's like how do you convey that they are good? Because like you can't tell the story and just tell what it's about always, you know.
Absolutely.
So you can't quite convey why it is good or why someone should play it or read it or whatever.
Yeah, it is so much like you have to like, I mean, it's a problem that the massive problem that I run into with this project is like it requires your attention, like it's like all these are like every month here's 10 games that require you to actually like sit down and pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And they are probably not like flashy, and they probably do not have like a huge like immediate like, oh, look at this viral screenshot or like gameplay loop, look how neat it
No,
looks.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
sure.
since they are like very niche, probably you won't even like most of them. But the thing is like getting like those experiences that are like very personal and like very
They are.
very niche. Like it's just something special about it.
right,
Absolutely.
like the idea is like, is it art bad because it like only connects with 3 people? Does art need to connect with 10,000 people for it to be good?
No, yeah.
Like it's just that's only those things only become requirements because commerce is such
Seriously.
a requirement of it all.
Yeah, I had this like a game I put on Steam, and like the reviews are like almost split 50-50 from either like it's like a humor game and you either got the joke and
Right.
that's the 50% of people who were like yeah, and then the other 50% were like this was dumb, and I was like okay, you didn't get the joke and it wasn't really for you, but like I respect you saying you didn't like it.
Right. But also like aggregate, like percentage based aggregate reviews are like the worst thing that happened to art in our lifetime.
Yes, yeah.
Like-
Seriously.
Like so like think of that 50-50 split. Like when we look at a game that has 50% reviews, we go, that game must be bad, but that means half of the people like it. You could be in the half that likes it.
No.
That's right. And you just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
try the stuff that is like niche or
Yeah.
unique sometimes simply because of that. And because of that, you're playing the same games over and over again.
Right.
Because you open
No,
yourself
yeah,
to
I really
blank
feel like
recommendations.
Steam has like one of the worst review like formats
Yeah.
ever. Like the pure good or bad.
Right.
It's like at least when you have like a star system, it's not the perfect system at all. It has many flaws. And it's like
Absolutely.
it also like it really sucks in many aspects, but at least like there's some nuance and you can look at like like probably many people could like this, maybe not, and like you get a sort of an average like about that. But it's like when you see like the good and bad on Steam, it's like that really doesn't tell you anything.
Right.
No, it does not.
Like,
Absolutely.
Most of the games I feel like have very high ratings on Steam are like games that are like appealing to like everyone. You
Yes.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is. It's like more of a popularity measure.
yeah.
I like
Yeah,
this
I-
metric of thinking about it and like how many, like what Andrew was saying is like, oh, 50% is actually like 1 in 2 people liked it. Like that's
Yeah.
actually so good.
That is. Why is that about thing? Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I would revisit some of my older games that just ended up on Steam because they made a deal with some company, and now suddenly a old German engineering creative game is suddenly on Steam. And I remember, and I still replay them, and I really enjoy a lot of the mechanics on them. But for some reason, they're mixed. and I don't understand why. It's like, why is that a bit? I don't agree with a lot of these reviews for some of the games that are kind of like mixed or whatever. Some of them are just really addictive and really interesting to me, but anything that's like doesn't have the word positive in it discourages people from trying it, especially
Right.
these older games that
Yeah.
don't have. Yeah, and that's really sad to me.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like overall, like you can play a lot of games that have like a very positive reviews and you will like all of them, but sometimes you will play a game that is like very mixed. Like some people really hate it and say like, "Oh, this is like exactly my thing. Like this
Hmm.
is exactly appealing to me." And I think that the sheer fact of many other people not liking it makes it more unique to you.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Like the true war, that the true cultural war that got lost, and I don't know when this happened, but is when Wikipedia under the reception tab, box office started going first instead of critical reception.
Mm.
And like it was weird. Like I remember like, when that shift happened of like suddenly the more important, like the thing that goes first is like, well, how much money did it make?
It's depressing.
Because also like, these, however many reviews, like, well, who is this person? Like you have to ask that question of like, well, even if someone gives it like 3 stars, like, who is this person? What is their opinion on things? What do they like? Do they hate everything I like and love everything I hate?
No, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
That's
I feel like
true,
we
yeah.
need like 50% of people who played the 6 of the same games that you have
Right.
didn't like it. Like I feel like like people who align with your interests really like it.
Yeah.
People who don't like it. And like that would be way more helpful.
yeah, absolutely. People like you also liked one. Actually, those when they do pop on the websites, like people who liked this also like those tend to be actually more helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, or like people who bought this also bought X, Y, Y, Z things, kind of
Yeah.
lean you towards like something closer to like, but also sometimes if a thing is like more unknown, it's like they're just guessing. It feels like they're just like
Yes,
taking
yeah.
taking swings at something. You're like, I don't know.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
you're just left with looking up on Google, hey, more games like X.
Right.
And then there's just old games that are nothing. Like
Right.
the game, you just
Like
play it. Come
is the Talos Principle 2 like Flight Risk? Not really, I don't think. I think they're
Steam would like you to think it is.
right. Steam would say it's the closest, the thing that's most like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like as times goes on, though, I always, I mean, I like to play stuff that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And actually, I
Yeah.
always try to play stuff that specifically like doesn't appeal to me as well. Because sometimes you get like really surprised on what you find.
Yeah.
It's like if you always stay with like the same games that the type of games you like, it's like you're missing out in a lot of stuff that perhaps you like, and perhaps like you had like a misunderstanding on its appeal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a game developer, I feel like, the recommendation, just like, with movie creators, for example, is just exposing yourself to the other genres. First of all, it highlights what works in yours, if you really want to be kind of technical about it. But on the other hand, exposing yourself to these ideas gives you the kind that make your next project really unique, because nobody is doing it in the genre that you're doing. So I would even, recommend it to creatives.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst design feels like it comes out of like, oh, you strictly only play these types of games, and
Yeah.
you were just like, you're replicating an experience that exists like already, while not really adding anything different to it.
It's like gaming incest.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And like it starts to like, yeah, games are loved by 10% and liked by 90. Yes, it's the like It's more interesting games that are people passionate about rather than games that people like.
Oh,
Yes,
that's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
distinction. I like that.
Like, because there's so much stuff that people like, and like, how many huge releases are people like not thinking about two months after they're done, 3 months, like,
Yeah.
stuff gets moved on from, and there's always people playing it still, but like, how often do you people think about player unknowns anymore,
Yeah.
or any number of like games that I'm just not even thinking about because they've already come and gone and been forgotten so quickly.
Yeah.
What games are you guys passionate about?
Let me try most passionate about in the moment. So I am someone who like flits about here and there, frequently. So the thing that like is really like sticking into my brain that I played relatively recently that I'm like, damn, people got to play this. Tales of Ihatovo.
Tales of what?
Ihatovo.
How do you write that?
Ihatovo, or sometimes it goes by Ihatovo Monogatari, depending on what you're looking for it as. Either one usually turns it up, but it's like a short kind of like novelist and like an adaptation of a novelist's work, but it's an adventure game and it's like a short story collection. It's very cool. It's like a very like a simple adventure game, but it nails the sort of kind of like passive wanderer, a semi-passive wanderer feeling that very few that is like I've never seen before in that kind of way. And it really stuck with me a lot.
Cool.
I like this.
Never actually came out in the U.S. You have to go do the world of fan translations.
Mm-hmm.
It also has a fucking killer cover art.
Yeah, I loved the cover art, definitely.
I still can't find it. I think I miswrote it.
Ihatovo Monogatari would be how I found it.
Yes, yeah. It goes, but you can find it usually one or the other. Whatever the website feels like referring to it as.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. That is a cool one.
Kinda.
But that is a recent. But otherwise, like my eternal long-term game I'm ultra passionate about that I'm going to take every excuse to talk about is the Genesis or Mega Drive for my international guess version of Shadowrun. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's fascinating. It is like one of the purest like distillations of like tabletop experience within a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it nails that feel perfectly. It's a cool vibe. I love it. But that is my top shelf obsessions with games.
And you can go ahead since you lit up, Eden.
Oh, I feel like mine changes a lot. Like I mentioned it during the individual session, but I've always loved deck builders. So Slay the Spire is like a constant one for me.
Yes.
In terms of like maybe smaller stuff, I've really been into this game called The Catacombs of Solaris by Ian McCarty. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
This game is just so visually interesting, and I've spent so much time in it.
Cool.
I find myself revisiting it a lot. But yeah, very different than Slay the Spire, but I feel like those are two that I think about a lot.
Very cool.
Yeah. I would say, I've been revisiting some of the old ones that I really enjoyed. The ones that would be like 100+ hours on Steam. I revisited Starbound recently, which is kind of sci-fi of Terraria. That one is really addictive to me, and it doesn't have it still has all the RPG and open world elements, all the addictive, common stuff. But at the same time, these older games, I feel like they captured the scope better, the procedural. A lot of the current games, I don't think, have a satisfying thing to work towards when you play something like this with crafting, and it's a 2D kind of scroller environment, and so it's a Minecraft meets RPG but sci-fi. But yeah, I really like those, and I like kind of smaller puzzle-ish games. There's dicey dungeons and stuff like that kind of has the vibes of deck builders. I really like deck builders as well. But it does something different to them. With dicey dungeons, you roll up the dice and then you assign them to the powers to activate them. So it's a bit of a strategy. And otherwise, it is a roguelike, and you kind of make your own decisions on each run. I like games like that. So I'm also all over the place, and I don't tend to end up with AAA nearly as much as I'm with these smaller games,
Do you like Balatro?
Yeah, Botcher was really addicting. Yeah, absolutely. I sunk quite a few hours on it, more on PC than my phone, which I expected to be the opposite. But yeah, no, absolutely. Those games are really addicting. But I would say that over time, I still tend to come back to these other ones that just do something unique or something. I don't know why. It's, But I did like Balatro quite a bit.
Cool. Oh, well, Oh shit, alarm. So I am really passionate. Well, I think it wouldn't be a surprise if I said I'm really passionate about Outer Worlds. That's like the go-to passionate game. So I'm not gonna extend myself over that, but I'm very passionate about What Remains of Edith Finch.
Okay.
And the Stanley Parable.
Yes, I love that. I love Stanley Parable.
What Remains, it's amazing. I'm also very passionate about Katamari Damacy. It's actually like curiously like a big inspiration for my game.
Okay. Now I am like, yes. I'm trying. I just did the mental like jumping. Like, oh, what does that mean? All right.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that, and specifically thinking on like what we were talking about, the like 50-50 games that many people don't like. The probably like the worst game I am very passionate about, like the worst in the sense that many people did not like it at all, is Scorn.
Okay, is that the creepy like yes, okay, that's the one, the body horror-ish kind of thing.
It gets compared with HR Geiger a lot.
Yes, yeah, because it's all like biomechanical grossness.
Yeah, that game, I loved it. I loved it so much, and I think it has like very bad reviews like everywhere.
Right. That's like, and also so many. The other thing that people forget about is like how many things like we think of as like. I think the Thing is like the best classic example of it because it like bombed, originally. And we go, oh no, that's like a classic horror movie that everyone likes. You go, not when it came out, man. I don't know where The Thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, that did not, drop into the theaters with universal praise.
Yeah.
Like, it was, largely negative and didn't make a lot of money. And now we're like, oh no, that's just one of the people are like, oh, that's just one of the best things ever made.
Yeah, speaking of movies,
yeah.
A movie I'm really passionate about that is like mixed reception, Speed Racer from 2008.
I feel like you're on the right. You're increasingly on the right side of history of that one. I feel like that keeps getting reevaluated positively with every passing year.
Speed Racer is so good. Have you guys seen it?
I have not, but I keep thinking about it.
Oh, it's so good.
Because it is like. I've only heard positive things though. I haven't heard like people not like it yet. I've only heard good things.
Yeah, but like I feel like especially at the time it was like when it came out, it was like it has many like 2D like type of CGI. Like sometimes the buildings are like literally just like PNGs,
right.
And like the CGI sometimes is like very, 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 very obviously CGI, and like it has all of these visual elements that kind of like told many people. I feel like, especially at the time, it was like, oh no, this is just for children.
Right.
But this movie is so unique. Like the visual identity of this movie is so insanely cool, and the pacing of it, and oh my god, it's so
I think it was just truly one of those things that people you weren't ready for it yet, of like, because but the interesting thing about especially reviews, they often don't like, oh well, if people circle back around to it years later, it's not like they go back and go, oh actually, let's boost all those Rotten Tomato scores back up.
yeah.
like oh, it got reevaluated and now everyone loves it or whatever. It's like, no, that doesn't, like, so you just like when you just like, say in this world where Speed Racer gets reevaluated as this fascinating film,
Yeah.
you just type in the internet feed, you still see like all the low reviews, like, oh wait a minute, this movie's not good, I'm not gonna watch it.
No, yeah. Another movie that needs to be watched, and many people didn't like, especially at the time, was 9, released in the 9th of the 9th of 2009. Are you all familiar with that movie?
Is that that's an animated movie, right? Is that the one I'm thinking
It's
of?
animated, yeah. It's like puppets. I mean, it's not puppets, but they are like
Look, the characters are puppet-esque.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like a little cloth
But it's
guy.
like it's what?
The character's like a little cloth-looking guy, right?
Yeah. Like they look like the ones from Little Big Planet.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I remember
Yeah,
seeing
and
posters for this.
What?
I remember seeing posters for this, like when it was coming out, like seeing the movie posters.
Yeah, that movie like actually just like shaped my likings for media for like the rest of my life when I watched it.
Yeah, like that's the thing that's so easy to like miss on and forget about, of like, oh, it's just the constant theme of like, oh well, things need to go broad in order to be successful, but
Yeah.
so much stuff gets like, not every single person. It's not like when a piece of art comes out, we all sit down and we all watch it or play it or read it, and then we all decide together as entire human civilization, this is our review on it.
No, yeah.
So I mean, these things can never be like evocative of like whether you as an individual will like something based on that, without knowing another person who like maybe you trust maybe to tell you what you think about it. Like
Art really means very different things for very different people.
Right. For some people it is like, yeah, no, I'm sure they strictly like, yeah, they just want to see pure, just straight down the middle blockbuster stuff,
Mm-hmm.
You go, yep, I want to see, I just want to play whatever blockbuster video game. What's a crap, Blockbuster's the name of a movie. Never mind. Too many things, but you know what I mean. Internet. When I say, I'm like, what are video games that come out?
The Last of Us.
Yes, The Last of Us. That like I strictly want to play someone. I had a mean thought about Naughty Dog the other day, where I thought about like, wait a minute, they have never in their lives had an original idea. I don't think any game they've ever made feels like you can be like, oh, this is Naughty Dog style. Naughty Dog style is just like spending a lot of money and just copying other people's ideas. And if like, hey, if you're into people who just like spend a lot of money and do a very competent version of a thing that is very familiar, you're in luck. They got you covered.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
What if you could play Indiana Jones and it was way longer? But and that, which also I guess makes them the perfect AAA video game studio, the best one ever made, because there's the perfect encapsulation of that design philosophy. Well, maybe Dream Zone. What is Dream Zone? There's a fun little pig guy. Anyway, video games. Mario, we've talked about them all. We're cresting 2 hours here, which means Andrew's starting to make sure to start to wrap this show up so it doesn't go on too long.
Okay.
So that I can do other things.
Cool.
But and also this wrap up phase also tends to also just take a long time, which is why I say it.
Oh, I do have a question for you. Andrew.
Yes. That's actually the perfect thing, because before you ask that question, the start of the wrap up phase is traditionally, hey, does anyone have any questions or statements before we start to wrap up the show?
Oh yeah, I do.
Perfect.
I do.
Yeah.
And it's,
hit me with it.
I've heard about the favorite Toho characters of
Yes.
many people, but I don't know what your favorite Toho character is.
And
turn it around at him.
And the answer is that is very wishy-washy, and that I'm very bad at having favorites of anything. But it'll. So my answer to this is always very wishy-washy. Someone that probably lives within the Scarlet Devil Mansion. I'm a fan of that vibe.
Yeah.
A bunch
Very
of
cool.
sleepy librarians, witches,
Yeah.
vampires, gemwings. It's got it all. It's like, it perfectly nails a vibe. It feels like the people in the Scarlet Devil Mansion is for someone who's like, that's like something a middle schooler thinks is really cool. You know what I mean? Because there's like a maid, but she has a million knives and she can stop time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, it's like the perfect encapsulation of a certain vibe that so I'm just a fan of it. Fan of all that stuff that's going on over there. Or that or giant unnamed catfish.
That's a thing in Toho, giant unnamed catfish.
We what is it called? It's someone found it once on unnamed giant catfish.
Unnamed giant.
When I found it once when I asked someone once on the wiki, they had found something on the wiki called unnamed giant catfish. And that was their favorite. So that is what I mentally catalog as people's default when they do not have a favorite. He's just chilling. He's a cool looking guy. He's kind of got a little bit of a wry smile, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt is my favorite Toho. I've been getting back into Star Wars. There's cool little guys in that thing. It's a good thing of a bunch of cool little guys,
Yeah.
It's too bad they took it away from George Lucas. For whatever the quality of those movies were, there's like, that was a guy making a bunch of cool little guys.
Yeah.
We need more cool little guys nowadays, I feel
Yeah. Listen, Baby Yoda's fine, but he's a baby of a guy that already exists. And he should be a puppet all the time, because it's funnier when they're puppets and you have... Also, but that, like, is that a skill that's getting lost, Is, like, puppeteering, like, a skill that will get lost with time,
Yeah.
Sound.
I guess, like...
Yeah, I just made my first physical puppet like last year, and it was my like screenshot for everything for the longest time. But it was so much fun making this like physical puppet.
Ah.
People were like, "You have to stop talking to me through the puppet," because I would walk around holding the puppet, and then like every conversation would be the puppet speaking, not me.
And are you talking like hand puppet style, like mouth hand style, or?
Yeah, mouth hand style.
Okay. Yeah, because that is like... It is a skill. Like, we think about, like, it's, you think about, like, let's go back to practical effects or traditional animation or whatever. It's like, Those are skills that people had. Do people still have those? Do we still have people who have those skills?
There's a whole
Yeah.
website talking about kind of like dying off practices, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's specifically for the physical labor, and some of them specifically find last known experts or rare experts of that craft,
Right.
and then they offer to teach it.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, because like how many?
trying to find it.
Like how, like you want even like in games, if you want to go back to like a very like classic style, like I think pixel art, modern pixel art is very interesting because it doesn't look like old pixel art.
Yeah.
Like there's different design aesthetics. Like even when people do like pixel art, is like, oh, this doesn't actually look like something you would have seen back then.
Yeah, it's different.
Like there are different
The-
design philosophies.
Yeah, because of the CRT screen specifically.
Right. And even without like CR, like there's just like, and I think that's probably part of it is like just the artists that were working out, the same artists, like so you're not using the same style.
Hmm.
But it is interesting.
Also,
Yeah.
speaking of pixel art, the compression and like it's very hard for pixel art to persevere when there's when you publish it to any website and it end up looking like how my PFP looks on the stream,
Right. It just like crunches it a lot.
Yeah.
To be
Like
fair,
it's
your
flying
PFP
off
was
the
also
field.
like a 64 by 64. I had to stretch it. But that
Yeah.
is like right. It's a thing that in theory they can scale like up very well, but like scalers don't always scale them up cleanly.
No, yeah, you need nearest neighbor scaling.
Yeah.
Or integer scaling. It can be like bilinear scaling that will mess it up.
Or do what I do sometimes, and I just zoom in and take a screenshot, which still feels like illegal. Like I shouldn't be able to do that. But it is like I will always take any excuse to, but I think it's like out of print now, so it's find a copy of it online how you will. I mean, like one of my favorites, kind of like heritagecrafts.org.uk.
Yeah, endangered crafts and people
Yeah.
who are teaching those. That's what it was. I knew. Yeah, it took me a sec to find, but
No,
they're
it's-
pretty much trying to preserve it. Yeah.
It is a cool thing because there is like just skills. Like we forget that we like how many things that we're making at one time that it's like, oh, maybe there's books, but there's a thing that a person just knew how to make that people just don't know how to make anymore. It's just skills that people just
Yeah.
don't have anymore.
I was thinking about this with old split flap displays, like what you'd find in like train stations, like those kind of turning displays. Like
Yeah.
we used to mass produce like millions of those, and now it's like $50 for like one digit of them, and
Yeah.
no one knows really how to recreate them. But we used to be making a lot of split flaps, and now not so much. So I feel like that's also been like a lost skill. It was something I was interested in recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is right. We take for granted that everything, like we all just like stuff just didn't exist. Like people had to make it, and people had come up with the idea of how to make it. And just like easy to take for granted the human ability to craft things,
Yeah.
and just the skill and labor that goes into just like making anything. And then like, and how kind of like mass production can kind of like take for granted that we can just make things and then the factories don't exist anymore. And then oops, oh, wait a minute.
Oops.
How do we get these little guys that we need? But that is fortunately we still have puppets. They're still we've not lost puppets yet.
Puppets are cool.
I think
Puppets are
Yeah.
awesome.
There's a Chilean show that's a puppet show, and it's it's like a one of the most well-known medias of my country, and kind of get like a resurgence recently, and like
Is
an
this
American.
31 minutos?
Yeah, it's awesome. 31 minutes. Yeah, that's very awesome. And you even see from time to time like they have like puppets from that show on the street, and it's very cool. It's a very beautiful show.
Yeah, it's like and because there's also the whole other craft that we don't think about of how like stages have to be built very specifically for puppets. So that,
No, yeah.
like, because it is weird. Like so far along human civilization, that we're still like, oh, puppets, and people are able to disconnect and suspend their disbelief and be like, that's a real person or whatever. That silly little flapping mouth thing is just like, even though we know it's not a real person, but we just kind of connect with this representation of a person.
Yeah, it says a lot about art.
Right, and we assume that they are walking on a flat surface, not that they are like 3 feet above the ground.
Yes, yeah.
And it is as long as they're keeping it going. Let's get game devs into puppets. You know, how do we get game dev into doing more puppet stuff? Like, how can we? There's that game by Fantasia Malware. What is it called? Yes, I'm blanking on the name of that game off the top of my head. The Fantasia Malware game with the puppet in it. It was
sure.
It was in Indiepocalypse, and I'm forgetting it. Or no, it's not Fantasia Malware. It's someone who's like in Fantasia Malware, but not technically a Fantasia Malware. Like the beauty of everything being so fucking interconnected, you know. I mean, collectives popping in and out of everything.
Is it A Time Traveler's Guide to Past
Yes.
Delicacies?
That is the one. That is a delight, and also has puppets in it. It has like a puppet cooking show.
Oh, that's amazing.
But because anyone can make them, they're just a thing you can make. And we are, thanks to Paradolia, we were like, yep, that's a face.
Yeah, they also just have so much emotion just from like even basic movements. You're like, wow, this puppet's really feeling a lot of things.
Yeah, right. It's the what's it? Scott McCloud's whole thing about like the simplicity of faces and interactions. And I always think about, I used to watch a lot of Simpsons growing up, and also listen to the commentaries constantly on the DVDs. And I think that always stuck with me is like, when there was, of course, everyone knows when the PTA got disbanded and Bart was flying kites at night, and the animator's talking about how just they added 2 little lines to like his model, his sheet, and it made him look super tired, and how like especially with like simple designs, like these very minute changes, create very drastic differences in terms of how we perceive them. And that art is cool, and that's like that's one of the interesting things about like interesting like challenges about pixel art, and very especially if you work in actual like super tiny like if you're actually working on those like 256 by 226 like scales, you have like so little space to work with.
Yeah.
And like trying to like create very meaningful sprite work within that. Like, I wonder if it's on. Let me see if this is on the Internet Archive. I will. A book I really like that I reference on this show constantly is FF Dot, which I feel like it's probably like a decade old at this point.
FF Dot.
FF Dot is a book about like early Final Fantasy pixel art. And
Pixel art of Final Fantasy.
yes, and besides just having a lot of cool art in it, I can get ebooks, but it does both like. You can see I'm looking at this ebook sample. Like it shows here's the fighter, 16 pixels by 24 pixels, and it shows you its color palette, and like you can see like dot by dot. This is what like a Final Fantasy 1 fighter standing sprite is, you know. And it's like a fascinating look. Like oh yeah, no, here is like these things that are like these very what we think of as like very evocative sprite work. And like how that sprite work is made, and it's very cool because it also has a lot of Amanos, like you know his Yoshitaka Amano is like very like luscious like illustrative work, and showing Yoshitaka and showing how like his luscious illustrations like next to what the pixel art ended up being, and going, oh wow, they like really nailed this in like this 24 by 24 pixel, you know. And it's just like a good study on like, oh, here's like how you like do like very good low res art. A fascinating book, but that's it. That's the end of that. I just like that book a lot. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Of all the various art books that I've dipped in on here and there, because I like process. You know, I love seeing process stuff.
Yeah, I feel like something with art books. I really, I mean, like I guess it's kind of the point of art books, but I don't like many art books that are just the art, you know.
Right.
I like having like a little context, a little text. Like I got this corn art book, and it has like a lot of context on we made this following this principle, like because of this, that's why we made this.
Yes.
And then I looked at the Bloodborne art book, which Bloodborne is amazing in terms of artwork, and the pictures are incredible, but I like to have the context, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially I like having like process sketches, you know, of like
Yeah.
here is the illustration, whatever that character was born from, or here are all the various sketches that, especially like give me unused character art among my favorite, you know.
Yes.
Of like here's ideas that did not get through, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also more honest of like a process. Like no one just like did all of the art perfectly their first try and was
Right.
like, this is the
Exactly.
game. It's done. Like it's more honest.
Yeah, it's not the like Instagram Reels artist. I'm just doing a sketch that it was a, you know.
Yes, yeah.
That's a edited like a 3-hour long edited video that turned into a 30-second sketch.
Yeah, or the candids of people singing in a hallway, and you're like, that doesn't sound like it would in a hallway. It's like clearly edited afterwards.
Right. The I mean, I'm not. We're too late in the show to bring up the thing that people are doing with modern computation, you know. But let's just say it breeds a desire to have made art rather than to make art. And I think so much of like modern, and that feels like it feeds so heavily into like modern, like, oh, I want people to see me having made art and give me a lot of likes for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, which like, oh, I need to have a perfect polished thing so that everybody likes my thing because people like the things that look good, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. Art.
I don't know.
I feel like all that stuff's like well overdue for like, or is in the process of a reckoning of people just getting sick of like that shit, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
And like looking for messiness again, more earnestly. Anyway,
Yeah.
video games. What a thing. That is me. So now I ask this question again. Does anyone have any burning statements or questions before we hit the wrap up portion of the show, the full non-promotional things to say before we get into that promotional portion.
Well, I would say, Andrew, I just wanted to mention this specifically, is thank you so much for creating this community and for offering us these opportunities, because all the chatting and all the fun we had here kind of comes part of the history of Indiepocalypse and of maybe articles that were written, conversations we had, but also you guys developers who put together these games who are willing to go and invest the time and do this. And I would like to thank you all for doing that, for contributing, but also for the Indiepocalypse for being the community that gathers this and gives us all a chance to find it.
I will. Thank you.
I think the same. Thank you as well, Andrew.
This is.
I'll echo the same sentiment.
I need to add an addendum to that statement, which is like, you can't thank me for things publicly, because that makes me feel like I'm just inviting people on to make me feel good about myself, which I am not.
We've chatted for a while. We haven't mentioned this for 2 hours.
That is my modern inclination, or my immovable inclination to just be mean to myself. But that is a thing that cannot be avoided. But it is like, but I've come to better terms in recent years where it was like, if this was a thing that I wouldn't make, I would love it, If this was like, oh, this is a thing that somebody else made, I'd be like, why aren't people, what's wrong with you people? Someone's handing you the best games every single month and you're not paying attention to it? What's your deal, man? Anyway.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think there ought to be more spaces for people who just be more like open. That's the thing I think about a lot of, like, hey, just like hang out with people, the feels more. A little glimpse I saw as I was posting this new release where people, I guess, I don't know, Blue Sky people aren't on it or something to that effect. And people were talking about, like, there's no one on this thing, or like the bubble's small, or it's shrinking, or it's not growing, or whatever. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, because it feels like, from my experience of being online, there's like just small bubbles, and they don't invite anyone into those bubbles, and then they complain that the bubbles are and then they complain the bubbles are shrinking, and they're like, what? Why is my bubble shrinking?
Seriously, yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I mean, yeah, community is like an active thing to like reach out to people and find new people, and it's like it's not a passive thing where you're like, I just want community, and then you like sit there.
Right. Or like,
where is it?
Or like, I want community of people who are valuable to me in my career.
Yeah.
Like, that is.
Yeah, I want community only if it's helpful to me.
Correct. Right. Right. I want to be successful, so I want community of successful people, or like. I am successful now, therefore my community is other successful people. It's like, who cares? Burn down the idea of success. Side-eye everyone who puts 30 under 30 in their bios online.
The what? 30 under 30?
Yes, it's a thing that you get if you have enough money, I guess. It's just basically a stamp of. It's your explanation. It's an exclamation of privilege and like advantage that you have in life, and you decide to put it on your Twitter bio or whatever.
It's a self-dominated and applied for thing. I learned recently.
Yeah,
like you have to submit your own portfolio to 30 under 30.
Right, and it probably costs $1,000 to do it or something.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a very silly, like, self-congratulatory thing that. For some reason, we care about Forbes for this particular context. I don't know why. It's because we need someone to pat us on the head and tell us we're good. And give us a little medal that says we're good little boys or whatever. Anyway, it's very silly. Awards are very silly. Give me a lot of awards though, so I can put them in my bio. And people go, that person has awards. They must be important. But people do. That is not disparaging. People, if you want to put on your website that you're an Indiepocalypse, I'm fine with that. I think that's. It is funny to see, when I see like, oh, because in my mind it's like a thing that is like, oh, it's a thing I do. I have a real full-time job that pays me money. Here's a thing I do forever. that makes no money. It feels like people don't look at, and then it's like, oh, people are putting on their website that they were in it.
Yeah. I'm proud of it. I've been telling
I'm
my
also
friends.
proud of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, right. It is we need things to tell people, because that is the unfortunate thing, is like people need like things to say, hey, I'm in this thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's enough people that are like, no, I need, like, you're not real unless you're 30 under 30 or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's like the difference between like bragging versus like maybe signaling to your community. You're like, oh,
Right.
this is like something I've done and I'm engaging with, rather than like I'm 30 under 30, like
Right.
bow down to
Yeah.
me.
That's a perfect example, because it's also like the worst one that like doesn't mean anything.
Yes, yeah.
It's like the most arbitrary, like, you paid a lot of money and you probably know people. So you got a little thing that says that, I don't even know what it means. Because also there's like a billion categories. It's not
Yeah.
it's not like there's only 30 people every year. It's like, here's 30 people under video games, comma, video games, parentheses, visual novel, whatever. Like, there's so many, I think it has like so many granular categories.
Maybe we need like an 8.3 billion under 8.3 billion.
Yes.
And everyone can just.
We all have arbitrary awards that we give ourselves.
Yeah, I like that.
I
Different
need to-
categories.
I need to be able to like spend a lot of money and insist on my own importance. Which is why the Game Awards is important, because it spends a lot of money and insists on its own importance. Anyhow, that said, we're gonna start wrapping up, because I assume there is nothing left, so we will hit the full wrap up section. So Aiden, hello. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Wrapping up.
What was that?
I thought we were wrapping up 25 minutes ago.
We were wrapping up about 35 minutes. We were wrapping up about 35 minutes ago, which is standard Indiepocalypse radio wrap up time.
Okay, but this now, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we are wrapping up.
Now we're wrapping.
Now we are fully wrapping up. I said someone's name, which means I'm starting to be like, hey, we're starting to fully wrap up the show. Because, Aiden, if people are looking for your work, where can they find that work?
Oh, great question. Either itch.io, or I have a lot of my stuff on my website, which is just aidenstrong.info. I think my itch.io is Stronky Kong, which is spelled in a really difficult way.
That's why I'm glad you said your website, because that's what I was going to link to, because it's easier. It's just yourname.info.
Yeah, I would go for my name.info. The Stronky Kong was like, no one's ever going to have this username. And then the issue is it's really hard to speak out loud to people.
Right, because there's zeros in it.
Yeah, because it has zeros in it.
You can't be like, stra zero, unki ka zero,
I sat there for like 20 minutes being like, I need something that will never be taken, because like, who would ever call themselves Stronky Kong with zeros? And I think I succeeded, but like at my own detriment.
Who would ever call themselves Pizza Pranks? I succeeded there. And Indiepocalypse was a word that it did exist, but I have stolen it. I have co-opted it. So now if you search Indiepocalypse, it is mostly me. And like, or people talking about me, and then like a Mastodon server called like Indiepocalypse.social.
You know,
I did stumble into that.
Yeah, that is not me. That is not me being so self-important that I would name something, that I would make my own Mastodon server and then name it after a project that I do.
I have like a vague memory of remembering a game that was called Indiepocalypse.
There is a game also I've come across it that was like 2018 or 2019 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
But step up, I've got it. That was like that was also just like a game jam game, I think.
I don't know.
So like it wasn't so such a thing that I was like, oh, I did not know that disclaimer was there.
Yeah, I just put. Sorry, I just posted in our chat like the Indiepocalypse social Mastodon has a disclaimer at the bottom that's like not associated with Pizza Pranks or the Indiepocalypse monthly anthology.
I had no idea of that. I wonder if people found their way there. If people know about it, or if people joined it thinking they were joining like a server that I had set up or something. That is an interesting thing that I was not expecting. See, just fucking brand recognition. Yeah. Brand recognition. Gross. But I've got it, unfortunately. Speaking of people with brands, Mayuri, tell me about your brand. Tell me all about your brand. No, tell me. If people are looking for your work, where can they find your work?
I'd say itch is like where I'll always have everything. I mean, like on my itch, there's link to all the other stuff. It's my main thing, I'd say, and anything game related, I will publish there. So yeah, my itch. Although I do have plans for Steam potentially, but yeah, I'd say itch is where everything is always going to be.
Perfect, and that itch, of course, is Mayuri 1024.
Yeah, Mayuri with two U's.
Yes. Caught me up there. I was about to also do that, but then I was like, this is an audio medium. I need to make sure I spell things when I need to spell things. And Mila, if people are where do you want me to point people to find you?
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you want to see the kind of stuff I do have a website and I do have a brand. It's Mind Inspired. So the way that the website is, it's mind-inspired.com. So you can see my portfolio there. You can see, the kind of stuff that I've done. For the most part, it kind of is a resume with a portfolio. I might do some cooler stuff with it in the future, but for now, so I can know what I do.
Yes, yeah. A resume and a portfolio is a great place to have great use for a website,
Well, that's I don't know. These days, some opt in to not pay for the domains, and I think I really do still think that that's quite respectful if you want to host it somewhere else. I feel like sometimes we put in too much value on the whole .com having your own website thing.
Right.
I'm sure you and for your love with brands, you would relate.
I am big on, you should at least, maybe it's not the most important thing, but it's always handy to have your own website at some point,
Yeah, your own platform.
Yes.
That's for sure. I would agree. Yeah.
You never know when the next thing is just going to disappear,
That's true.
I really want to have one, but not yet.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be expensive.
Yeah, they do cost money. That's the one downside to them. Always just get a NeoCities, though. That's close enough. But like NeoCities and cards and those sorts of things kind of accomplish the same thing in a lot of ways.
Exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah. Just to have something like that.
I would say at the very least, it's very handy to have your own domain name that is like platform agnostic, even if it does go to a card or like your Blue Sky, your itch page. Just be like, he's like, oh hey, if you want to find my stuff, this is my website.
That's true.
I knew someone who would aggressively buy other people's domain names. Be like, oh, you should have a site. If you don't get it in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to buy it. So he would it was well intended, but he would get people to buy their own websites.
That is an aggressive way of doing it.
For sure.
But that's better than just buying people's websites and then, charging them for them. And then telling them after the fact. But yes, and then of course, Indiepocalypse, of course, Indiepocalypse.com. It's just the damn website that you think it is. That's where you buy stuff like the newest issue of Indiepocalypse, which just came out yesterday.
Yay!
And it's always coming out first Friday of every month. And if you buy issues like, for instance, 74 or 64, these people here will get money eventually. I think you're both probably going to get, one or both of you are going to probably get some money soon anyway, because once I go through my PAX East bookkeeping work, and say, hey, who's got to get payouts? Usually, but you're Mayuri, welcome to the exciting world of Andrew pays you $5 to $6 every 6 months or so.
Awesome.
That exciting world of royalties.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the real king of Burger King.
Yes, you can get one hamburger with that money.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
can get one hamburger.
That is
awesome.
often people will be like, oh yeah, no, I buy a slice of pizza with my Indiepocalypse payout or whatever. That's a quick lunch or something. But if I'm of the philosophy that, hey, game developers should all get royalties if they made a game. Let's be honest. Like, they should be getting royalties in forever, because if they made the game and someone's making money off the game, hey, guess who should be making money off of the game? The people who made it. Anyhow.
Yay!
Video games. If you want to submit
Yeah.
your game, indiepocalypse.com/submit, indiepocalypse.com/Patreon is how you get a monthly subscription to Indiepocalypse. If you're just like, hey, I want to buy it and not think about it. Or if you're like, hey, I enjoyed that writing about Spindle Wheel. Boy, I wish they published writing about games in Indiepocalypse more frequently. If the Patreon makes more money, then that gives me more money to do that,
Yay!
to publish articles more frequently. Because I filled up like a year's worth pretty quickly, like within a week.
I remember. Yeah, I got in early, and then you were like, "Yeah, we filled in a year ahead."
Yeah. Because you probably, like, you're like, oh yeah. I'm like, when I told you, I'm like, yeah, your article is about like 5 months from now or whatever.
Right?
And you
I'm
got
so
in.
honored.
You got in relatively early,
No, yeah,
but
that's great.
I've got people scheduled throughout the end of the year. I will eventually have to do another call for like, hey, you want to write about games that are in this thing? Because there's a lot of cool games in this thing, and there's 120 games every year that get featured in Indiepocalypse.
Cool.
That's impossible number to write about. But that's it, I think. I don't think I have any other URLs to mention before I shut this show down. Mila, Mayuri, Aiden, thank you all for being on the show, for being involved, for all this in general. Thanks
you.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And hey, thank you all for listening. Important. I always forget that one. I always forget to thank you for listening, but I remembered.
Oh yeah, there's people listening.
Yeah, there are in theory people listening to this now. There will be in theory people listening to this. When I was at PAX East, someone was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing I listen to occasionally," and it was not a contributor, it was just a guy, not just a guy, but like someone I did not know beforehand. A lot of the times, at least from people chatting, it's like, "Oh, these are people that are either people who are contributors or people that I know." Agumander I saw at PAX East as well, of Game Tank fame. The pre-show mentioned Exodrifter was presumably here at some point in time, maybe
At
still
some
here.
point, no, she told me she was occupied today. 'Cause
Yes.
I told her about my participation, so she probably was just saying hi.
Yeah, that is the fun thing of this project. Like, people who were interconnected before this, and then people who are interconnected after this. I think of the Indiepocalypse community. It's not a traditional style community, as more of like a bunch of people who just kind of know each other,
Yeah.
and are just kind of aware of each other, which I think is a important thing to have. That's it. Goodbye, everyone. As soon as I find, there you
Bye-bye.
are.